When this century began, there were about 1.75 billion people alive on our planet. In the 50 years up to 1975, that figure doubled. If we go on as we are, there'll be almost 6 billion of us by the year 2000. And that's in just 10 years' time. Feeding all these new mouths is going to be a major problem for mankind. Only about 11% of our planet's surface is under cultivation. Improved use of both agricultural land and the oceans for food production is therefore vital to us all. In South America, in Africa, in Asia, vast tracts of tropical rainforest are home to 2/5 of all living things. But in Brazil alone, forest areas the size of the entire United Kingdom are being burnt to the ground each year. The land so turned over to food production can only support crops for 2 or 3 years at the most. Then the farmers are forced to move on and burn more forest. Unless we can control this process, thousands of species of plants, of trees, will be lost forever. Along with them will vanish their products and byproducts. Vast tracts of green forest will be transformed into lifeless desert. But the science is available to assist man in reversing this process. Science able to turn desert back to forest. Products like fertilizers, insecticides, and high-yield seeds have all contributed to improved food production. But bulk production by traditional methods alone brings its own drawbacks. There's the need for vast energy projects, the commensurate massive capital investment requirements, and of course the damage to the environment. To make matters worse, we must now face the prospect that many of the forestry raw materials we so heavily depend on will not be available to us in a very few years' time. But there is a solution to this dilemma, a natural solution wherein the biological sciences can be brought to the rescue. And one company is at the very forefront of applying such biotransformation technologies. The company is Novalal, a company with a very clearly defined goal: to harness the biological sciences and integrate them into the service of mankind. Novalal employs 3 core interrelated technologies. The first is semi-solid and liquid plant tissue culture, involving the ability to mass replicate plants. Plants of all kinds have, contained within their cell structure, a property we call totipotency. Every single cell of the plant carries the full genetic code necessary to recreate the entire plant. The technology has been developing for some years now, and it's already been successfully commercialized in the production of exotic flowers, such as orchids and roses. But now the process can be extended to the production of trees. If you choose the ideal tree from a forest, for example, one with a fast growth rate or a high degree of resistance to disease, it's possible to replicate large numbers of identical cloned trees with exactly the same qualities, and in a shorter time span than is possible in the tree's natural environment. If small samples of plant tissue are placed in a suitably prepared nutrient medium and incubated, a material known as callus, the plant's wound tissue, will develop. Each totipotent cell in the callus mass has the genetic ability to recreate an exact replica of the parent plant, and, once separated, will rapidly grow in a controlled laboratory environment. The resultant plantlets can eventually be transferred back to their natural habitat, thus making possible massive replanting programs on a selective basis. But this is only the beginning. If the callus is not activated on a nutrient medium, it can be stored in a state akin to suspended animation for an indefinite period of time. The storage of callus from a wide variety of plants and trees in this way can thus create a bank, a germplasm bank, or store of plant genetic material. At the Merck's estate in Essex, architects have designed for Novalal a facility for the mass production of up to 10 million plants a year. This facility and Novalal's plant genetic material bank will afford customers unique access to an enormous range of plant startup material for rapid multiplication of their tree requirements. Novalal's second core technology is the continuous fermentation of plant cell suspension cultures. Often, trees and plants are prized for the byproducts they give us. With access to a process of plant cell multiplication, why might it not be possible to produce the desired byproducts directly, naturally, from the individual plant cells, rather than from the plant as a whole? Novalal has successfully brought together specialized scientific research carried out in collaboration with major universities and research institutions in the United Kingdom. The company's own research facility at the Surrey Technology Centre in Guildford acts as the nerve centre for the coordination of these many strands of interrelated research. All this has made it possible for Novalal to become the first company in Europe to commercialize this technology. The process starts once the callus has grown to a suitable size. It's then transferred from the sterile tissue culture medium on which it's been grown into a shaker flask which contains a liquid medium. The resultant plant cell suspension culture can then be multiplied under ideal conditions in a fermenter vessel. The proliferating callus cells produce secondary metabolites in a similar way to those produced in the entire plant. A major difference, however, is that a plant cell suspension culture can produce the desired byproduct without the need to grow the whole plant, in whatever quantities may be required. If the process is used continuously, only a small quantity of original plant material is necessary on a one-off basis to seed the reaction. Novalal scientists have developed this process to produce a range of products, including pharmaceutical intermediaries and antiviral drugs. The company uses the same technology to produce flavors, fragrances, coloring agents, and additives for foodstuffs, such as papain, previously extracted from the papaya fruit and used extensively as a meat tenderizer and in the production of light lager beers. The world market for this class of food enzyme products is over $100 million per annum, and the list of similar applications is almost endless. Novalal's pioneering entry into the commercial utilization of this technology has opened up unique market opportunities. The company believes it could well become a market leader as a result of its head start. The success in commercializing this advanced process has led to a further integrated development. A development representing the third of the company's three core technologies: biotransformation.
Well, biotransformations is a relatively new idea of using nature's catalysts, called enzymes, to perform reactions that we consider useful in providing new materials, new chemicals that are perceived to be of use to us in either improving the quality of life or the length of life, such that we can get away from the catalysts we've used before, the man-made catalysts, such as the heavy metals, which are now causing problems in the environment.
What biotransformation can do is to make the specific isomer, well, can make a specific isomer, not always the isomer that's the most useful one, but usually you can make the natural version of what a chemist can only make as a mixture, and that can be extremely valuable.
Novalal has used biotransformation techniques to produce a range of novel fragrance compounds. The company has coined the name biofragrances for these products and has registered this name as a trademark as part of its broad-based portfolio of intellectual property assets.
I think we're looking at a product here which has terrific commercial potential. It's novel, it's exciting, it's potent, and it certainly can be incorporated in many different ways into the kind of fragrances which I'm sure will provide novelty and excitement in obviously what's an expanding market. So I'm very confident that we've got something which is very exciting and can be developed further.
The obvious key areas for biotransformations are those areas where one is talking about high value-added chemicals. Once again, the pharmaceuticals, flavors and fragrances and agri-chemicals industries. These areas are very profitable but extremely expensive to develop into. But we believe that biotransformations is going to be one of the key underpinning technologies for the manufacture of these compounds.
If we're now into a new world, and indeed we are, where we can use bacteria and other microorganisms to provide for us what we've already had from the plants, then we've got the possibility of completely a new dimension in these things, and it will be very exciting to explore that, obviously using different bacteria or different fungi, and using different ways of growing these fungi, exposing them to different kinds of environments, exposing them to different chemicals which they can use as raw materials. So a whole new world opens up, and Novalal intends to explore that world.
The main mission, as I see it, would be, first of all, to bring forward our brilliant scientists who have tremendous ideas and who have never or very rarely are able to practice them in the real world. That, I think, is the art of management today, and to give them a jolly good boost and to see it through, and to bring the technology into the field in the importance it should be.
Novalal, a company with 3 core capabilities, with acknowledged wide applications in massive world markets. And in all these areas, Novalal is uniquely placed to develop effective commercial utilizations for its products and processes through its 3 core interrelated technologies. The first dedicated biotransformations company in the world, Novalal.